مساء الخير واهلا بكم الى حلقه جديده من واشنطن اونلاين. معي انا هدي العويس. من جديد معبر سمالكا مغلق، والمدنيين في شمال شرق سوريا يبحثون عن حل لإعادة فتحه، لأنه أحد المنافذ القليلة والوحيدة التي يتنفس من خلالها المواطن في شمال شرق سوريا. في هذه الأثناء تترقب المنطقة وتترقب دول الجوار الانتخابات التركية ونتائجها التي ستؤثر دون أدنى شك على السياسات الخارجية لتركيا، وخاصة السياسات الخارجية المتعلقة بالملف الكردي وسوريا. كل هذا نبحثه في حلقة اليوم من واشنطن أونلاين، وضيوفي لهذه الحلقة ومن أربيل ينضم إلينا الكاتب والمحلل السياسي المختص بالشؤون الكردية فلاديمير فان فيلجنبرغ. ابقوا معنا للمتابعة. أبدأ الآن مع ضيفي الكاتب والمحلل السياسي فلاديمير فالجنبرغ، ينضم إلينا من أربيل. أهلا وسهلا بك فلاديمير، ودعني أبدأ بالسؤال عن موضوع مهم جدا اليوم للمدنيين في شمال شرق سوريا، وهو إغلاق معبر سمالكا. ماذا نعرف عن هذه الجولة الجديدة من إغلاق هذا المعبر المهم بالنسبة للناس والسكان في شمال شرق سوريا؟ لماذا الآن، وهل من أمل يلوح في الأفق لإعادة فتح هذا المعبر بسرعة؟
Well, I mean, the border crossing of Semalka-Faysh Khabur has been closed several times before because of intra-Kurdish tensions between the Kurdish political parties. So it's not the first time, and obviously it will affect the civilian population or journalists or humanitarian workers that are trying to cross. I mean, in the past, the US they intervened and they negotiated with both sides to keep the border crossing open. So there's a high possibility that again that the US and maybe other countries with a presence in Syria, that they will try to talk to both sides to reopen the border crossing. But it will affect humanitarian aid to northeast Syria, but also journalists traveling to Syria, but also civilians that try to cross between both sides. And this border was closed because of the continuing tensions, because, for instance, sometimes northeast Syria, they don't allow Kurdish parties to travel to Iraqi Kurdistan, and from the other side, they also don't allow people from northeast Syria, politicians, to come here. So the tensions there, they have been growing since the stop of the intra-Kurdish talks during that were like suspended a few years ago.
فلاديمير، حدث آخر مهم جدا تتابعه الناس في المنطقة وهو الانتخابات التركية، الجولة الثانية من الانتخابات التركية. برأيك هل ستخف التوترات في المنطقة، بما في ذلك التوترات الداخلية الكردية والتهديدات التركية المستمرة لشمال شرق سوريا بعيد هذه الانتخابات؟
Well, I mean, so far it seems that that Erdogan will benefit because he was not able to get a full mic in the last elections, but the elections are now going for second round, and also the parties allied to him, they won the majority in the parliament. So in a few weeks we will have the second round of the Turkish presidential elections, and if the opposition is not able to win the presidential elections, I think it will negatively affect the security in northeast Syria. You already see that Turkey recently done drone strikes both near Kobani and in Sinjar. So if Erdogan wins also the presidential election, I mean, it's not 100% sure yet, because also there's a third presidential candidate that can either support the opposition or Erdogan. But if Erdogan manages to win the upcoming elections, it's most likely he will continue this policy of confrontation. And we all know that the situation has worsened since the peace process between the PKK and the Turkish state collapsed. So since then, there have been an increase in fighting between the PKK and the Turkish state. And this also, I mean, Turkey has also done many operations in northeast Syria and also in Iraqi Kurdistan. So if Erdogan wins, then most likely these attacks, drone attacks and other attacks will continue, because Erdogan is dependent on an alliance with ultra-nationalists. And well, in the past, he was willing to work with the Kurds for the peace process. I think now in Erdogan benefit is to work more with the ultra-nationalists. So even Now the other presidential candidate that only got a few percent of the votes, he is reportedly saying that he doesn't want to work with any side unless they stop relations with the HDP. So this is like a message to the opposition that this third, he became sort of a kingmaker, that he could like push the opposition to stop working with the HDP, and then it will also be difficult for the HDP to support the opposition. So this is all benefiting Erdogan, because for him, if he works with this this candidate, it will be more easy for him because he already has a very ultra-nationalist alliance, and he could make some agreements, for instance, of sending Syrian refugees back to Syria. So I think also for the Syrians inside Turkey, it's more difficult, because one of the few parties that doesn't want to send Syrians back to Syria is the pro-Kurdish HDP party. But most of the other parties in this election, all of them, they want to send back Syrians.
فلاديمير، بأي استراتيجية سيتعامل الغرب مع أردوغان إذا عاد وفاز في الانتخابات وهدد شمال شرق سوريا وهدد المناطق الكردية بغزو جديد؟
Well, I mean, Turkey threatened before to launch an intervention in northeast Syria, but I think because of pressure by the United States and also Russia, it stopped a new Turkish operation. So I think the current Biden administration is not very happy if Turkey would launch a new operation. So I think the US will pressure Turkey not to launch such an operation, so they will act negatively against that. But of course, I mean, the US will not do much to stop, for instance, drone strikes or artillery shelling by Turkish-backed groups. So, I mean, it's always possible that Erdogan will step up drone attacks in northeast Syria. But I'm not sure. I don't think that the US will allow a new military intervention. But of course, also there will be elections at some point also in the United States. So it will also depend on what the new US administration will do in the future. But that's maybe a little bit far away still. But I think the current Biden administration, they will not allow a new Turkish intervention.
فلاديمير، هل سيلعب كرد تركيا دور محوري برأيك في نتيجة الجولة الثانية من الانتخابات التركية؟
Well, I mean, the thing is that what is actually not really benefiting the opposition. So the opposition, they really need the vote of the Kurdish main Kurdish parties to basically get a majority. But for Erdogan, which is allied to ultra-nationalists, he doesn't need this. So in this case, I think especially for the second round, the position of the opposition is weaker, because if they get support of this ultra-nationalist third candidate, then maybe the pro-Kurdish party will get angry and Kurds will boycott the opposition. So I think it's benefiting more the Erdogan rather than the opposition, because the opposition, they need to somehow ally both with the Kurds and with the Turkish nationalists. So it's more difficult for the opposition, while Erdogan has like this ultra-nationalist Islamist alliance. So it's easier for Erdogan basically to gain a majority.
شكرا جزيلا لك ضيفي فلاديمير فالدنبرغ، كنت معنا من أربيل. وفي الختام شكرا لكل من تابع واشنطن أونلاين، ألقاكم في حلقة جديدة الأسبوع المقبل، إلى اللقاء.